wait. This is better. Yeah, look, this is the welcome room for the Good Place. Have you watched the Good Place?
The Good Place. I don't think so.
Oh, Ken.
Well, I'm
Oh,
going to make
Ken.
myself a note.
You have got to. You've got to watch
I'm making myself a note right now.
the Good Place. If
With good being subjective.
um,
I can't help
look,
it.
I can't spoil the show for you. Okay, I can't. I can't spoil the show for you.
I wrote it down, so I can check it out.
It is you may have guessed from the title of the show that it's about the afterlife.
Ah,
And look, I'll spoil the opening scene. Okay, Eleanor, our main character, opens her eyes, sees this sign behind me, and is welcomed into the Good Place. Okay, that's the whole. That's the first 30 seconds. I don't count that as a spoiler. The show has 4 or 5 seasons, and um, I have never seen moral philosophy in a sitcom
mm,
actually work, right? Like this, look, they took the whole trolley problem. You know the trolley problem. They
yeah,
took
yeah.
the whole trolley problem, which is such a snore, and they made it entertaining,
Mm.
amazing. Um, um, yeah,
Play armchair psychiatrist here with my fake pipe and go, oh, you see what Andrew is displaying to us is he's subconsciously wanting to see himself in the afterlife by just playing himself as if he was in that very waiting room.
I yeah. Nope. Can't spoil that show for you.
I'll
Not
definitely check it out.
not gonna
Let's
do it.
leave it at that.
Ted Danson, Kristen Bell. Oh, perfect,
Oh,
perfect pair. It's glorious.
nice.
Listen, Ken, I owe you an apology because I told you that I would have some kind of break at the half an hour mark, and look what time it is.
Oh, yes.
It
Yeah,
is.
we're just slightly past.
Yeah, we're slightly past. So, oopsie, my bad. No, look, I got drawn in
We're
to the
having too much fun.
conversation.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm having
We're,
it's way too much.
we're putting the fun in dysfunction.
It's my favorite kind of family gathering. Um, uh, look, I think that what we're driving towards is some kind of meaning behind existence. Um, I don't think that there is an overarching imperative behind existence, behind the universe. I don't.
I know.
Okay. I don't find that there is a grand scheme that needs to be followed. That doesn't seem to stop me from assigning value to things um, for me. And it doesn't seem to stop people from doing that in general. I think that we do this naturally. Is that the word I'm looking for? We do this instinctively. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for either. But we all tend
Just
to do,
other words of saying accidentally.
we do it accidentally. I'll take it.
There you
But we
go.
do it.
Yeah, we
I
do.
don't,
Yeah.
wait, I don't know that we do it accidentally. Well, do we? We could.
Well, let me put it this way. Let's just dig into that while you think. So keep in mind that on your worldview,
Yeah,
our instincts
we could.
and our thoughts and our feelings are just the byproducts of random biochemical neural reactions that are actually predetermined by the laws of thermodynamics and physics.
Ooh, I like
So
fun
yeah,
determinism.
there you go.
Yeah.
So sure, we do those things. Yeah, that but would just the way it strikes me when we get into this issue of meaning, the way it strikes me is I end up thinking of it as one of atheism's consoling delusions, which is the delusion of subjective meaning and objectively meaningless existence. Okay. And I'm afraid that what's going to happen to you is that when you say, hey, there's no objective meaning, let's just make up our own individual subjective meanings, then guess what? You're opening the door for people who want to cause harm as just fulfilling themselves, like all these horrendous despots and regime oppressive leaders who, yeah, they had their fun. That was their subjective meaning. And you put yourself into the position where you can't say anything against them. You can't condemn them. You
Sure,
can.
I can.
Well, no, you can push wind through your vocal cords and formulate words where you're making a statement that you oppose them. But my point is, we've already explored the fact that that would be based on purely subjective personal preferences based on hidden assumptions. So yeah, you can say whatever you want, but it would ultimately be not cogent. It would be inviolable because it's based on a bottomless pit of hidden assumptions based on assertions. It's like subjectivism all the way down. So yeah, you can say whatever you want. That's not the point. The point is the worldview you've agreed to hold on to disallows you to actually and functionally, potently condemn the kind of things that you're saying people shouldn't do by asserting that we should invent our own subjective meaning. And other people go, yeah, okay, sure, that counts for me too, right? So I'm going to do this. And then you're stuck.
I think that when it comes to governing behavior, look, you can, if you want, believe that all butterflies are dragons, and I'm going to leave you alone. All right. If you want to believe that all butterflies are dragons, that is fine by me. I don't think that we should pass any laws regarding dragon hunting at that point. But if all you want to do is believe that butterflies are dragons, I'm down with it. But when it comes, and so the reason that we can't pass dragon hunting laws, right? The reason we can't govern dragon hunting behavior, yeah, that's where I'm going. Dragon hunting behavior. We're going to be concerned about the harm that's going to come from hunting dragons, thinking they're butterflies. No, wait, thinking butterflies are dragons. That was the example that I used. I'm going to try to keep my metaphors straight today. It's the same kind of harm, I think, from believing that inserting bleach into your rectum is beneficial. And it's the same kind of testable results that we can get that this is not beneficial. You can't believe your way into bleach not being harmful.
But so, okay, I would say we've already covered that ground. I absolutely understand your point of view on that sort of an issue. I'm just continuing to emphasize that let's not forget that we must categorize that as Andrew's emotively subjective personal preferences du jour based on hidden assumptions, based on assertions. So that's fine. We're hearing Andrew saying this, but let's understand that the premise...
These are assertions based on assumptions, Ken. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, they are because, for example, you're sneaking in certain imperatives that on your view are actually pseudo-imperatives, like being beneficial, not causing harm, right? These things are things that you're sneaking in, but your worldview doesn't provide you a universal imperative to use those as premises because you've already had to concede that, well, you oppose harm and you accept beneficence just because you want to. It's just a personal preference of yours.
If we're not focused on reducing harm and increasing benevolence, what are we doing? What are we talking
and that's
about?
but that's exactly what I'm saying. It's not a universal imperative on your worldview. It's just something Andrew likes and dislikes. Like you might as well say the best ice cream flavor is X. It's on that level of subjectivism.
I don't think it's on that level of subjectivism, Ken.
What's that?
I don't think it's on that level of subjectivism, Ken. That's
It
what I'm
is
telling you.
because
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
Okay, well, let me.
You can't believe your way into bleach being beneficial.
But there you go again. See, you're setting beneficence as the standard, and I'm saying, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and it makes sense. But it is, after all, just Andrew saying, hey, if you do that, it won't be beneficial. But why that standard? Well, because that's what you like. You just personally like it.
So what you're saying here, let me see if I'm following you here. What you're saying here is that if I want to do harm to myself, I should drink bleach?
Me, on my worldview, no, I would not want you to harm yourself in any way, shape, or form. Nor would I want you to drink bleach whatsoever. And I applaud you telling people not to drink bleach, not to insert it in certain orifices. And it's astonishing that you would have to say that, right? It's astonishing we live in a world where you would have to say that, right? Oh, brave new world that has such people in it. But so don't get lost in the, does this make sense? Wouldn't this be helpful or harmful? I'm still at the meta level of looking at, well, why is he saying that? On his view, it's because he has a preference for beneficence and a dislike for harm. That's all it is. Okay, so that's all it is. So Andrew gets to tell people, hey, don't harm yourselves by doing this, and that's great. I'm just saying that beneath it is just a subjective interpretation of random biochemical neural reactions in your brain that cause you to result in the thought of, hey, we shouldn't harm, we should be beneficent.
There's a real benefit for benevolence. I don't find that I find the benefit of benevolence to be as concrete as the harm from bleach, right? Right?
Yes.
So, is maybe my struggle here is going to be if we're not talking about reducing harm and increasing benevolence, what are we talking about?
So this is why I mentioned to keep in mind, we'll often be talking about ontology versus epistemology. So I'm kind of focused on ontology still, about what is the thing in and of itself, what is undergirding what you're focused on, which is on epistemology. So like when you refer to the benefit of beneficence, to me, you're just compiling two assertions. You're just jamming two of them together. So now you got two issues. Why be beneficial? Why be beneficent as universal imperatives, which you already admitted you don't have? So I'm just saying, when we listen to Andrew, we must constantly keep in mind that he's expressing his subjective opinions, and they might sound great and they might be beneficial, but the benefit is a hidden assumption that we ought to be beneficial. We ought not to harm. We ought to be beneficent. Those are just assertions based on hidden assumptions. So that's why I'm saying we constantly have this tension between, do we agree that we should do those things or not do those things? Yes. But why? And you don't have a why, you just have the assertion. That's what I'm saying.
What hidden assumptions are we talking about? Can you unhide those assertions?
Well, they're hidden, man. No. So that's what I've been doing all along, right? So when I'm saying, okay, so Andrew asserts that we ought not to harm others. All right? That's a pretty basic statement that I think you'll agree on, and so would I. Okay, Andrew asserts that we shouldn't harm others. There's an entire worldview underneath that holding it up, and those are the hidden assumptions. So I would say something like I've been saying, which is, one way to understand harm on your worldview is that it is individual bioorganisms' subjective interpretations of neural chemistry. And so they say, hey, I'm going to interpret this little lightning storm in my brain as something that I don't take pleasure in. So I'm going to call it harm and decide that I want to avoid it. Yeah, exactly. But the point would be that it is all just that. It's just saying we shouldn't do things that cause accidentally existing humans to interpret their neural chemistry to the conclusion that, hey, this is harming me, so you shouldn't do it. So you see what I mean? At the epistemic level, it makes perfect sense and we totally agree. But I'm saying beneath it all, you just have personal preferences. They just have subjective interpretations of random biochemical reactions, and that's pretty much it. So let's just hope we all get along. You know what I mean?
Well, we clearly don't all.
Because there's no universal imperative to get along.
There's clearly no universal imperative to get along, and clearly we do not all get along, right?
Well, there you go.
I mean, clearly that's the case, right?
On your view, yeah, exactly. On your worldview.
Well, it has to be your perspective as well that we all don't get along, Ken.
Well, though that we don't, yes, but you said there's no universal imperative for us to get along.
Well, there's also no universal imperative for us to get along, otherwise we would.
Oh, I would consider that a non sequitur. Yeah. Not that non sequiturs are an issue.
Imperatives?
Hold on. Not that logical fallacies are an issue on atheism. They're not. But I'm just pointing it out, just in case.
I mean, wouldn't an imperative have to be followed? Isn't that the point of it being imperative?
So, for example, is it an imperative in the United States of America that we ought not murder? Murder is illegal, right? That is an imperative in America, right?
Sure.
Yeah, people murder.
But people do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
school shootings.
Now the fact that people do commit murder in America doesn't mean murder is not illegal in America. It is an imperative. It is illegal. It is there ontologically.
I don't think the United States is setting universal imperatives, Ken.
What's that?
I don't think the United States is setting universal imperatives.
No, it's reflecting a universal imperative, but I'm just using that as a metaphor. It's just a parochial metaphor of that. There can be this absolute law. Let's look at it that way. There is an absolute law that murder is illegal, but people still commit murder. The fact that they commit murder doesn't prove that there is no absolute law. It is there, but people just do it anyway.
What's the point
so
of
a universal, what's that?
Really? Well then, okay, look, if we're talking about universal imperatives, we're talking about universal imperatives. I must be misunderstanding what you mean by a universal imperative. Because I feel like a universal imperative must be followed. If a universal imperative does not necessarily need to be followed, is it a universal imperative? Or is it a kind of a universal, I'd really rather you wouldn't?
And by the way, this is what I'm liking about interacting with you, is that you're willing to say, hold on, let's pause this. I want to understand what you mean by it, and here's what I mean by it. That is absolutely essential to communication, and I wish more people would do that. Anyhow, so universal imperative, meaning that it is an ought. There are certain things you really ought to do and really ought not to do, but that people can still choose to do them or not. That is the bifurcation, is that's why I was bringing up this parochial example of United States law. That people violate it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. In fact, that people violate it proves that it exists, or else they wouldn't be violating it, right? So that's what I'm saying. Universal imperative is telling us you ought to do certain things, but you can still say, well, I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm rather uncomfortable using human laws, justice systems as metaphors.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah, so, I'm a little uncomfortable there, but
so maybe
I get your point, right? Let me try to spit this back at you, if I can. So, a universal imperative might be that humans must consume water. Okay, all right. This is something that you don't have to consume water, but you're
Well,
probably
there
going
you
to be in a
go.
bad way in a few days.
But you just agreed with me. It's a universal imperative. We must consume water, but we can choose not to. That's exactly my point.
Is it so? We can choose
This
not to for a time, right? We can choose not to for a time. But eventually, what happens is either you start drinking water, you're not you anymore, right? So one thing has to happen. Either you stop or the abstaining from water stops.
So we're starting. Yeah, okay. Let's bottom line that. That's what I'm saying. Is there are certain things you do, such as drinking water, but you can choose not to. Yeah, it may very well result in your death. That's a separate category than that. There would be this universal imperative to drink water, but you can choose not to do it. Yeah, I mean that's. This actually, I think, brings us directly into the issue we touched upon, or we just mentioned, which is morality and ethics, because that's where we end up with, well, are there universal imperatives or aren't there, and how does that all pan out in terms of morality and ethics? We can go there, or we can just, if you have a thought to continue that line.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. We should move on from this topic soon. Yeah, that's strong suggestion, Ken. Very well done. Look.
It would actually tie into the next part of the discussion, is what I'm saying. It wouldn't be just abandoning it.
Yeah, right.
Because I think we're building, right? We're building.
Look,
we're taking baby steps here.
I think. Look, there is. I think that just like we can measure and test and recognize the harm of dehydration, we can measure and test the harm from other actions or lack thereof. Okay. And again, if we're going to move to morality and ethics, if we're not talking about harm reduction and benevolence, I don't know what we're talking about, right?
Okay, very good.
If
we are talking about that, but I'm saying when we talk about that, on your view, we're talking about subjective personal preferences. So you have a preference for harm, for beneficence and against harm. Okay, that's fine, but it's your personal preferences du jour, incidentally.
Look, I will grant you that, except that if it's something different, I don't understand how you call it morals or ethics. I don't get it. What are we talking about all of a sudden? Look, if at some point we'd have to agree on, I think we'd have to agree on the thing that we're talking about. If I'm describing an elephant to you, and you think that I'm talking about a ballpoint pen, we are not going to have a constructive conversation, Ken. We're not.
Okay, we are agreeing. We're agreeing on like the level of application, right? When we apply X, morality or ethics, when we apply it, we agree we to not cause harm. We should support beneficence. Yes, absolutely. That is what we're talking about. That is what we are agreeing on. But what we don't agree on is the underlying hidden assumptions, the worldview behind it, which result in you saying, I, Andrew, want to reduce harm and want to support beneficence. I want to believe in as many true things as possible and at least false things as possible, just as a subjective personal preference of mine. That's the difference. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's one level of the discussion, and then the application would be the other level of the discussion. See that?
I don't know how we talk about morals and ethics without their applications, right? I don't know how we get to morals and ethics if we're not talking about uh, if we're not talking about the actions or inactions that they um, that follow from them. I don't know how else to do that. I am certainly a very consequentialist kind of person, right? Sort of. Kind of. I guess. Look, um,
Well, as long as you're sure about it.
look. I have I have my favorite philosophers, and I have issues with every last one of them. Right. Um, but on the other hand, I kind of feel like if any one of these dudes had all the answers, then why were we still looking for them? So
That's what philosophy is all about, right? I got it all figured out. No, you don't actually. Hey, I got it all figured out. Well, no, not quite. I do. And then on it goes.
I do see an awful lot of that kind of a pissing contest in philosophy, to be sure. Um, um, I but you know I don't it's I don't know that we need something more than um, um, than harm reduction, than an increase in benevolence to form a foundation for ethics and morality. I don't think we need anything more than that.
In on one level, I could agree with that because human beings can certainly um, arbitrarily come up with laws that we can then impose and enforce that are based on that. Yes. But my point would be that we are then imposing and enforcing subjective personal preferences based on hidden assumptions. That's all I'm saying. So I think that we might be talking slightly past each other because you're saying you don't know how we could discuss morality without dealing with harm reduction and increase in beneficence. And I'm saying, yeah, that is what we're doing. We should do that. I'm just constantly reminding us that when you say that and when I say that, we are saying that based on very, very, very different things. And that's why I put it at the level of your favorite ice cream flavor, because just like you like ice cream flavor X better than Y, you like harm as opposed to beneficence. Sorry, reverse those.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Just because.
Yeah, just because. Look,
and
yeah,
I think so. For
it.
example, you said we can measure harm. We can measure it,
Yes.
right? But see, can, not ought. You can't tell me we ought to. You're just saying we can. Yeah, we can. Of course we can, and we should. But to you, it's we can do it as a personal preference. It's just something I like doing today. So let's measure harm. You know what I mean? We can do it. Yeah, sure. But there's no universal imperative to measure harm. That's the difference. So yeah, we can measure harm, and then we can go on to talk about morality, and we can go on from there to talk about morality and ethics, keeping in mind that the foundational premise is a personal preference. We can, so let's see what happens. Not we ought.
And I keep saying that this is not just a personal preference, right? This is not. It would be the same, Ken, if it would be the same, Ken, if The Good Place was everyone's favorite TV show, right? It'd be the same. It'd be there was a TV show Friends that was insanely popular and so stupid. Why would people like that show? Not the point. It was insanely popular, Ken. Um, um, how could all those people be wrong? No, that's not where I'm going.
That might be where you should end up going if it's an argumentum ad populum. Let's just see. No, not that an argumentum ad populum would be a problem on atheism. I'm just pointing it out.
No. What I'm saying is that the what I'm saying here is that you're going to find, I think, that uh, if we're not talking about, I don't know how to separate the um, physical manifestations of morals and ethics from the morals and ethics themselves. I don't think you can do. I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure I know how to do that. And I don't know that we need any more foundation than we have. I don't know what the benefit of having an additional foundation would be. What would the benefit be, Ken, of having an additional foundation under there?
Yeah, notice how you snuck in as a premise the benefit of any foundation besides sort of it just is ism. Okay, so what would the benefit be? The benefit be is that I couldn't turn around and say, you know, Andrew, you make some great points about morality and ethics. You're telling me to work to reduce harm and not harm others. You're telling me to be beneficial and beneficent. You're telling me this, you're telling me that. You sound great saying it. You love to hear yourself saying it. And by the way, I'm just going back to the discussion we had before the show started, so nobody think I'm just picking on you.
No lies detected.
So the issue is that I could hear that and I could say, you know what? You make some great points, Andrew. Guess what? I don't care. And I'm not going to do what you say. And by the way, when you tell me I shouldn't harm others, I'm thinking, hey, if I harm somebody, they're likely to do what I want because they don't like that feeling of harm. So if I oppress people on purpose, I'm more likely to get what I want, and I can enrich myself and I can enjoy my life just like any despot, and I can have fun at causing harm. And then guess what? In the end, on your worldview, boom, I'm done, and there's no transcendent accountability. There's no judgment. There's just, I literally get away with it. I got to enjoy it and I get away with it. So that's the difference, is I can listen to all your wonderful sounding assertions and I can say, so what? Yeah. Even if I agree with you, so what? It's just, I'm just looking at an accidentally existing ape going ooh, ooh, ah, ah. And I'm saying, hey, those are great sounding sounds you're making. Guess what? I don't care because you are the one who set this table. You made the bed of, you have your own subjective meaning, right? Okay, I'm going to make my own subjective meaning and I want to cause harm on purpose because it benefits me, right? It just opens the door for literally anything.
Ken, isn't that the world we live in? Ken, isn't that reality? Ken, isn't that what we see happening?
So let's pause right here. Isn't that the world? Okay, so we're agreeing on that point. We just agreed that is your worldview. So yes, let's just say, yep, that's just the stoic reality of it all. Let's just face it, full blown, full force.
Look, all I'm saying here is that I have no interest in convincing you that I'm right. Okay, I'm actually kind of hoping you're going to convince me that I'm wrong. Would be fun.
What I've been pointing out all along is that on your worldview, being right or wrong is irrelevant, and that's the problem. That's one of the main problems with your worldview, is it's utterly subjective.
It's not utterly subjective, Ken. I don't know how else to say that to you.
But this entire discussion has been you agreeing that it is pure subjectivism. It's just Andrew saying stuff because you have certain personal preferences based on assumptions.
Everyone has assertions and preferences. But I think that I don't think that there's a problem with assigning with people, humans, assigning meaning as they see fit. I don't.
You do. You do.
Why do you say
that? Absolutely do. You've stated that many times, because if I say, okay, Andrew, I'm going to agree with you on that. Now I'm going to set out to live a life of causing harm on purpose. Then you're going to say, well, no, don't do that. Well, but you just gave me the permission to have my own subjective meaning, and now you're taking that away from me?
No, because again, Ken, I keep saying it's not subjective. Holy cow. What's happening?
You actually don't keep saying that, but okay, just go on that thought, on that train of thought then. It's not subjective because...
If we're not talking about harm reduction, I don't know what we're talking about, Ken. Right? If you start talking about increasing harm, where did you go? All right? How did you leave me? Right?
I left you because you opened that door for me and you said, hey, Ken, walk through that door. And I was like, yeah, okay, here I go. And you're saying, well, oh no, now I realized I shouldn't have done that.
No, look, if we're not talking about the reduction of harm, I don't know what we're talking about. Okay?
Okay, good. Okay. So a couple of things. It seems like you're saying in this case, we should not be subjective because the objective is the reduction of harm, right?
No. Close. No cigar. Look. Let me try to rephrase this because I'm striking out normally. Let me yeah. Think on the fly, Andrew. Good plan.
You know what? While you think, I'm just going to make a general statement for the audience because someone said, hey, do you want to debate so-and-so? And I don't know. The last time I had a debate, it didn't feel good to me because it was like we were expected to enter Thunderdome and we were supposed to just keep making points. Instead of really interacting, we were just supposed to take jabs and make points. And that was like it. Where, okay, I wouldn't mind debating again, but I much prefer this because this is like, you know what? We're having a discussion. We're stopping each other to understand each other better. We're elucidating the points we're making. We're defining terms. And man, that's so much more satisfactory. I hope the audience can appreciate that. I certainly am.
Yeah. If you tuned in for fireworks, people, sorry, my bad.
So like here, okay. Andrew's saying, well, let me think about this for a minute. And I'm like, good, great. Because I want you to be able to really express yourself and without like the pressure of you're on a timer, buddy, because this is your rebuttal and you got 30 seconds left and Ken's about to pounce on you. Come on.
Yeah. Look, I'm not.
I wonder if it might be that you don't like the way it sounds when I accurately dissect what you're telling us, because it did actually seem to me like you were saying we ought not to be subjective when it comes to this, because the objective thing to do is to reduce harm. It did seem like that to me.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd phrase it.
Which incidentally, I would say that myself. I would say this is not subjective. This is objective. We ought not cause harm. I would say that. It just seemed like that's what you were also saying. We ought not to be subjective when it comes to this, because the objective thing is that we ought not to cause harm, or we should reduce harm.
Yeah, I'll bite. Look, you're gonna yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Words are not coming to me right now. This is a very uncomfortable feeling because normally I can spit things out. But I think that my issue here, Ken, mostly comes from this idea that subjective means worthless. That subjective means throw away, right? And I know that that's stronger language than you would be comfortable with. I get that. And one of the reasons that I'm struggling here is because I'm not quite sure where to place it. But to say things, but to say that these ideas of what ought to happen are subjective and therefore no more valuable than ice cream opinions, I feel is a weird leap, sir. That's the weird leap that I feel. Ice cream opinions are subjective, and I will grant you to probably the extent that you want me to. I will grant you that morality and ethics are also in, as far as you probably want me to say that they are subjective. I'll probably follow you probably that far. I think I will. I don't know. Anyway, um, there's a difference, I think, um, between the subjective nature of an opinion on ice cream and an opinion on harm. I think that it's hard to measure um, the pleasure from ice cream, right? Is that right?
Or a brain freeze.
Is brain, but we know why brain freeze occurs, right? We understand that it's a chilling of the upper palate, right? Um, we get how that sensation comes to be through physical interactions of random chemicals, right? Um, I think that this is different when evaluating the pleasure of an ice cream flavor versus the kind of measurable harm that we can observe. Seems different, Ken. Seems different. It seems different than uh, it seems different than even a universal imperative to not murder. Seems different, Ken.
Now, I'm going to pick on you here. Are you saying they are categorically different? Absolutely. Or are you saying they seem different to you subjectively?
I don't know how they're different, Ken. That's why I'm staring at my notes.
Well, no, no, no. No, no, no. It wasn't about how they're different. Or maybe, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. It was about how they're different. So are they actually fundamentally, absolutely, categorically different? Or are you saying they seem different to you, Andrew, as per your subjective personal preferences, that they seem different to you? Or are you saying they actually are?
Look, I don't know if they actually are. All right, because
Yeah,
in order for
I
me
know.
to know what they actually, if they actually are, I'd have to be able to define the categories in which I'm trying to place them. Right? Wouldn't I? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Um, I don't know what categories I'm placing these in. To be honest with you, I don't know. They do, on their face, appear to be different. I've been wrong before, Ken. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Been wrong before.
And you might be wrong again. I'm just saying, look out for it. It's coming at you.
Super likely. Super likely. Uh,
So you're saying there's a chance.
um, uh, I think that when it comes to morals and ethics, we work off of feelings, don't we?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
When we're talking about morals and ethics, aren't we also talking about feelings, emotions? Aren't we also talking about intuition and gut?
The issue of morals and ethics, especially since we're using the two different terms in a sentence together, is yes, it's definitely multifaceted, extremely complicated, which is part of why people have been discussing it for millennia. So maybe we should define, what do we mean when we say morals and ethics?
Oh, man, we totally skipped that step, didn't we? Holy mackerel. How
Well,
did that happen?
because we haven't actually discussed morality and ethics yet, not really technically as a focused issue. So now we get to do that.
Yeah. If you're not talking about harm reduction, Ken, I don't know what you mean by moral and ethics.
Well, I can tell you.
Have I said that before? I feel like I said that before.
There's no one else there in the waiting room with you. You're like, you're alone in the afterlife. You're a solipsist.
Someone just
I'm
called
just
me
a figment of your.
insult.
I'm just a figment.
Where are we in this dang thing? We're at 1 hour 36 minutes. 1:36. Insulted as solipsists. Listen.
Not insulted. Identified.
Best insult ever.
And one Andrew Zippo.
Listen. Yeah. Be insulted as a solipsist. It's fine. I've been called worse things.
Afterlife solipsist. You're there alone. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no, Ken, I'm sorry. Did I lead you to believe that I believe in an afterlife? Because I'm...
No, I'm saying, given your background, welcome, everything's fine. You're in that good place waiting room all by yourself. So you're in that afterlife and you're all alone.
They always appear in the waiting room alone. Someone has to come in and get them. Interesting. Fascinating.
Yeah. It's not like Beetlejuice where he's sitting there along with a bunch of other people taking numbers.
Nope. They explained that in the show, and I'm not spoiling it. Not spoiling it. Not going to do it. I love that show. That's a good show. Look, where were we going? Yeah, look.
Morality and ethics, the definitions.
Definition. The definition of morals and ethics is the reduction of harm to humans. Yeah. Definitely to humans.
So I would say that would be one of the problems here is the semantics. And sometimes semantics get so annoying, but I'll go through them if we need to. So I would say that would be ethics. That wouldn't be morals.
All right. Okay. I use morals and ethics interchangeably. Tell me why.
Exactly. See, they're right. That's why this needs to get technically semantic.
No.
Because, uh-oh.
Yeah, look, Ken, we got about, we have, did I mention that my home office is in my master bathroom? Did I mention?
Yeah, and I told you, if I hear a flushing toilet, I'm out of here.
You're not going to hear a flushing toilet. You're going to have a child come in and try to take a bath. So, are you coming in to take a bath right now? Yeah.
Okay, well, there's your cue.
Yeah, look, so my camera went off because someone came in here just decided. You're going to use the bathroom, too, before you go into the bathtub, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, good.
Wait, so what, you made it be on the waiting room. Wow, man. Wow, it's cosmic. Where are you now?
Oh, my gosh. All right. Look, Ken, I hate to do this to you. I really do hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to cut us off here.
I understand.
I want to pick this up and do this again.
Yeah, sure.
Another time. This has been, let me just... I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by my child who thinks it's hilarious. I'm on a Zoom call trying to end it while she's getting ready to take a bath right behind me. Finds it hilarious, Ken. Hilarious. Oh, my gosh. Definitely cutting this part out. So, I'm cutting this part out, Ken. I want you to know that. So
cut out the best part. What do I care?
Oh my gosh! Can you just give me 5 minutes, please? No. Oh my gosh! I don't know if you have kids, Ken. I don't recommend it.
Oh, I can relate.
0 out of 5 stars. Don't recommend.
Well, it's fun making them, though.
Yeah. Oh. All right. I gotta let you go. This has been great fun, Ken. I'm going to cut this part back in with no explanation as to why I'm no longer on the screen. Tell us how to find you on the internet. Tell us how we can buy your books. Tell us all about how we're going to be able to get in touch with you. Here for a minute. Tell us how we can all get in touch with you digitally, if you would.
Okay, so it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been the way that I think more discussions like this should happen, where we're exploring incredibly complicated ideas, and we're doing so just laughing it up and getting to know each other. I mean, this has been a very positive experience, and getting to know you has been a pleasure. So, website, truefreethinker.com, one word. And I made it simple, so I'm not going to tell you every single social media, this, YouTube, that, Facebook, the other, Twitter, the other. Just truefreethinker.com and find everything you need to right there. User friendly.
Great. Fantastic. Look, I was hoping to be able to put that on the screen, but I can't. You know why? Because the child has decided it's bath time and I'm in the bathroom. So thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mr. Ammi, for joining me
thank you as
tonight.
well.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
likewise. Likewise. God bless. Bye bye.